So my name is Malad. I'm the counsellor for Sydney Queer Muslims.
SQM actually started as an informal Facebook group. So it was a community, an informal community on Facebook. It was a secret group that some friends put together who were all gay men back in 2012 or 2013.
We were just an informal social group on Facebook. We've, organized some social activities, but rather informally. And then the Orlando tragedy happened, and the stories that we heard about the shooter, and about his homophobic father, and those pressures from society. Those stories were familiar, and people were talking about us without actually talking to us. And so we thought we needed some formal representation. So we got ourselves organized and got the group incorporated in 2017. So that's how it evolved.
Nurul, our president, really took the initiative in making us an incorporated organization. And we were incorporated in 2017. And since then, we've been Sydney Queer Muslims.
I got the group incorporated, and we now have a formal committee with executive committee members and committee members, and so we're now a proper non-profit organization.
When I was younger, so at the age of 12, I realised I was gay, and my family weren't religious. So it actually wasn't from a religious perspective, it was more from a cultural perspective, being of Lebanese background, that it was set for me that marriage and kids are the norm and there's actually no other way around it. So when I realised I was gay at the age of 12, I had it embedded and ingrained within me, in my psyche, that regardless of any physical or sexual feelings I may have, marriage is the way, it's the norm.
I came out quite young when I was living in Istanbul in Turkey. I was 13 when my parents found out that I was same-sex attracted.
When I was younger, I used to have dreams about other boys in my class, and I used to think that was perfectly normal. I thought that every boy did that.
When I realised it was I'd say about 17 or 18, and then it explained all my gender confusion when I was younger.
I'm 25 at the moment. I'm of Turkish Cypriot and Greek descent. Realised I wasn't like everyone else when I was 16.
My first emotional relationship would have happened around year 17, 18.
My school was an Islamic school, and the surrounding area was quite Islamic. It was like very hard because I had to hide my sexuality, and we were drilled from when we were kids that being gay is wrong.
My mum used to tell me, like, when I sat down, sit like a lady, be more feminine, be with the girls. And so I knew from a very young age that I wasn't like all the other girls.
Eventually you feel that you're doomed to an eternity of hell because you're gay, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Where do I fit? Am I just going to be someone people are going to let me be who I am and not bother me? Will I be able to have a family? Will I be able to have a partner, kids? Or do I have to fake my way into society by having a wife?
We have been married for 12 years. I got 3 sons during that, but I was feeling like I'm losing all my power to be able to continue. And by the end, I just felt like I want to explore and say, I want to tell everyone that I can't do it anymore.
Gay people tend to live out of a false self, not the true self, especially when they're at home with their family, cousins, or friends that don't know about them. They form these different identities, these different selves.
You can be 16, you can be 40. Stories are the same. I'm struggling. I don't know what to do.
But when the words for being gay are used against us from a young age, it can be quite damaging long term and create internalized homophobia that can manifest within adulthood in damaging ways.
I feared the rejection of my immediate Muslim family the most, being an outcast and not being accepted for who I was.
My mother really pushes me to go to psychologists. Part of it is she wants me to become heterosexual.
My stepfather is extremely homophobic, and I was given an ultimatum basically lose your family and live this lifestyle, or suppress it and you can still have contact with me and your sister and your extended family. Now, I grew up majority around my Lebanese family, which is my mum's side. So to me, that sacrifice wasn't worth it at the time.
When a gay Muslim man or a gay lesbian woman lives in a household where from a young age homosexuality is frowned upon and it's not accepted, they absorb that.
Your children are still your children, even though you might have found out some new information about who they're attracted to or what their gender might be, if they do have a gender. They are still being themselves, and I think it is important to know and love your child and your siblings and whatever they are to you in a full way.
So if I literally accept Islam as it is, yes, homosexuality is a sin.
It's so hard to be a Muslim and gay, so I was really some sort of hating myself, and I was really struggling with that. I couldn't really cope. I even was really struggling with depression and things at that time.
Religion was so entwined with culture, I almost resented it and I stopped practicing. But now I'm realize that my relationship with God is no one's business. It's not attached to anything or anyone or any culture, or it's not my mum telling me to go pray. It's my connection with God. And I think like realizing in the last about 6 months to a year is that I still need, as much as I need to be expressing myself, I still need Islam in my life.
Allah is the most merciful, the most compassionate.
I want you to think about this, about how when every sentence, every verse in the Quran except for one starts with, in the name of God, most merciful, most compassionate, why would he create you as gay and send you to hell when he keeps reminding you he's compassionate? So anyone who thinks about stuff like that will know that you're not going to hell just because you're gay.
I kept praying and talking to God, saying, you have to find a way for me right now, because I've done this all to satisfy you and to finish this thing that I didn't choose, and I don't have any power to choose, so help me to change it.
Does God love me? Because, if it's forbidden in all the Abrahamic faith to be gay, if it's a sin, well, why has God created me that way? So the journey has been from one of absolute torture to one of liberation.
Just want to tell queer Muslims that it's okay to be queer and Muslim. If you're struggling, please contact us. You're not alone, especially if your family is being violent towards you. Get out. There is no point in staying in the home.
Unfortunately, a lot of people don't make it through that journey because the support's not there, and hence why SQM was formed by Nurul, and they fall through the cracks. It's sad. It really is sad.
Change is possible, and there are safe places for you. If you do feel unsafe within your home and your family, do try to reach out and just find people who do support you. Remember, your safety is the most important thing. So do not stay in situations that do jeopardize your physical and mental health.
We provide a range of resources. So there are events and workshops, like we held last year an event for mental health practitioners and other professionals who might be working with queer Muslims.
We do have a monthly support group meetings that happen. Sometimes it's led by a counselor or a psychologist, and sometimes it's peer-led. We did one workshop, queer Muslim empowerment workshop. That's just to basically to get an understanding of the verses of the Quran that's causing a lot of people grief, seeing that in a new light that is queer affirming.
We also have events for queer Muslims themselves, of course. We have a long-standing partnership with Imam Musin, who provides spiritual guidance and counseling to our members.
So we do referrals as well. If you're facing problems with your family, if you've been kicked out and not have nowhere to live, contact us and we can refer you to a shelter or those services that offer you emergency or crisis accommodation. Talking helps, and healing happens within a community.
Aside from that, there's obviously just the social function, just hanging out, the ability to connect with other queer Muslims and just share space with people who can understand you. That's another, probably one of our core functions really, is to put people in touch with each other.
Reach us through siniquemuslims.org.au. There is a contact form, and for security reasons, we will contact you and vet you before you're introduced to the bigger group. So one of us will be calling you or even meeting you up in person, and then you'll be exposed to the social events that we have. And yeah, just write to us.